In the United Kingdom and around the world, stress on the roads is a major problem.
Why are you shouting? Gonna pick you in!
But I might have found the solution. 4 things will happen when you get in the Lexus 500h. 1, you'll learn about omotenashi, which means good service. You'll understand takumi. Number 2, which means craftsmanship. 3, you'll experience time differently. And 4, you may never be angry ever again. It is literally impossible to be angry in this car. I've tried. I've even taken this to Bristol, which people spend 61 hours of their life a year in traffic. It's the second most congested town in England, and I couldn't be angry. I was just too chilled. Your wife could have an affair if you've got one of these. You'd be like,
call it a sanctuary of quiet, a relaxing spa on no, not that kind of spa, a haven of reliability and peace of mind. Why? Because the last thing anyone wants from a car, or life in general,
If you wanna go, then you go to hill and go down.
is drama.
I'm obviously going to cover the main features of this car and why it wins over many cars in the world. But at this point, we should just really mention the obvious, which is that it has the longest warranty in the world, 100,000 miles or 10 years. There is a thing on that, but for now, bear in mind, this is how confident they are that their car, their product, is better than anyone else's.
The RX is a bit like a classy jazz bar, effortlessly cool and understated, but at the same time with a subtle smugness about it, because nothing will go wrong.
You might remember a story in the press which was something along the lines of 168,000 Citroens allegedly had problems with their airbags, and a letter was sent out. If you ignored that letter, you got points and a fine if you drove the car. My car had air suspension issues. This doesn't have air suspension, and there are 3.2 million unaddressed car recalls in this country. None of that happens with these. As I say though, there is something to note on that warranty which we'll come on to, but first let's talk more about the serenity of this car and how it will cure the world of all stress. These are called tracers, and unlike some haptic style buttons, there is no feedback other than it never gets it wrong. It is so nice to touch these. On the left hand side you're controlling your head-up display and the car functions, and then on the right all of your driving functions, so your following distance and so on. There's a very addictive thing about the system as well in the heating, because this has a unique feature which uses thermal air from outside to heat the cabin without using any of the battery power. That is very clever, but it also does one other thing that no other car does, and that is it knows what seat is being occupied and sets the temperature accordingly.
This is part of Lexus omotenashi philosophy, the Japanese word that means selfless hospitality. You know, doing things for other people and not expecting anything back. Did you know it's actually considered rude to tip in Japan? Did you know that?
It also wants to do some of the driving for you with its PDA system. For example, it knows there are bends in the road and will start to slow down. Bend awareness. If there's a car in front, it will start to slow down. And this is not when you're in any kind of cruise. It just kind of knows. And that's really clever. Something else, this car essentially just slows everything down. All your turns will start to slow down, your thinking will slow, and you'll be much calmer. Everyone behind you though, there is something about that auto cruise that I want to test in a little while, but first, this is the new front. Now, Lexus say we want our fronts to be intelligent, not intimidating, but I think there is an element of it being intimidating, especially in the white. And I also think this car looks slightly younger in the white compared to the standard Lexus colours, which tend to be silver or, silver.
There are 3 things that might not be calming in the RX. One is its tendency to beep at you. Another is, well, it's not that easy to park for some reason, and, well, this.
Are we getting a little bit ripped off for car prices here? I think that's stating the obvious. So the Lexus RX starts in the US at $51,000. That's £43,000. In Japan, it's 7,600,000 yen, and that is £39,000. In Australia, it's $87,000. That's £45,000. Guess how much it is here? £63,000. You know, that isn't relaxing, actually. Here now is the 10-year warranty thing, which you probably already know, but some people don't. So it isn't really a 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty. What it is a 60,000 mile warranty, 3 years, but if you have the car serviced with Lexus, they'll give you a new warranty every year you go back for your service. Now that is genius. The reason why that's genius is after 60,000 miles or 3 years, what a customer tends to do is, number one, they'll go into a new PCP deal. Number two, they'll sell it. Or number three, they'll refinance or pay it off, and they will take it somewhere else to be serviced because it's cheaper. But Lexus don't like that. No manufacturer likes that. But Lexus are the clever ones because they are bringing you back for the extra couple of £100 it will cost you for the service. You're getting that peace of mind. That is brilliant. It's not just on new, it also works on used cars.
On your way back from the Jazz Club, Lexus pioneered Blade Scan lighting. That doubles the amount of visibility you get. It's a posh high beam assistant that works using mirrors to show you more and dazzle others less. The cabin though can be a bit dark, even with the optional coloured light pack. The workaround would be getting the ammonite sand leather. Yeah, a Lexus with dark leather is like a Jazz Club without any jazz.
Now Lexus experts are probably going to complain now, but I am going to test something that may not work, and it might be me. But my understanding is that this has LTA, which is lane change assistant. I've not seen it working. I've now got auto cruise on, which is the best one you can get, safety system plus. It does the pedals and the steering, and it will do the bends on the road, and it will swerve a bit more evasively if it needs to. But what it should do, I'll just speed up a little by pressing this button here. Again, the car's driving for me, is that it should overtake if I indicate. Now that's my understanding of what lane change assistant means. So I'm gonna indicate, and no, that's strange. Okay, there you go. I've never seen it working in any car. So as I say, 366 horsepower from here. There's also a battery as well. They work together, and Lexus has got a really good way of describing how this works. Obviously it can travel in full EV mode and it is silent most of the time, but they say it never has to be parked up to charge. Look at us talking about engines. Here's how it works. The battery is always being charged by the engine, although you can have a plug-in hybrid if you must plug something in, because suddenly you've now got it in your head that things need to be plugged in. You've got charge, eco and power here. Now obviously when you brake or you put your foot on the brake, you're adding power into the battery, you know that. This is the eco mode, and that's the power when you're accelerating. And this little light here is the EV, which tells you that the car is ready to be driven in EV mode. The thing though is that the smoother you drive, the more it uses the battery, and the better in general. Like every car, I suppose, it works the same way. But that is where these instruments come in, because you're supposed to stay in the eco range, like this. Like an old-fashioned BMW when it had the dial going that way. It's like a game. Keep it in the eco.
It's almost as if Lexus are refusing to follow trends with the RX. You won't find any tech you don't want or digital displays. You can't play Tetris in it. To Lexus, that is tacky and not Takumi. And that means craftsmanship, which is what matters to them.
Good news and bad news. The good news is this is the one you want, the 500h. What a beautiful engine this is. This is beautiful. Do you know how calming it is having an engine? An engine that they get a stethoscope. This is true. They get a stethoscope to listen for noises and rattles. That, it's just brilliant. Anyway, the bad news is this is £80,695. That's before you've put a sunroof on it. And here's how to unpack that money thing. So let's say this is £80,000. One way you could justify it is the length of time. So for example, £80,000, if you were going to keep this for 10 years, because there is a study, I think in the UK, 12 years is the average length someone keeps a car now. I can tell you a lot of reasons why that is, but anyway, that's what they say. So let's take that £80,000 and divide that by the 10 years you're going to keep it, or maybe even longer. That's only £3,000 more than what an average person spends on their car or their PCP payments anyway. The thing to take away really is a car's cost really is only realised when you sell it. If you buy a car for £100,000 and you keep it 40 years, it's probably cheaper than a car that cost 20 grand and you sold it after a year. This is my new feature. It's called constructive criticism. And so here we go. So number one, The fuel tank, that is very small, 300 miles, not keen on that. Sound system, yeah, I'd love them to do a bit more work on that, or do a deal with someone, do an arrangement, a licensing arrangement with someone really special, because there are manufacturers that have nailed that, and that would make this absolutely perfect. I will say, in fairness, they have improved the sound system in this, but it's not quite Howard ready. And thirdly, the suspension is automatic variable, but I would prefer in something like this maybe the air, which would cost you more money. Other than that, do you know something? I think these dials down here have changed. Getting really finicky. Well, the thing is, because it's a Lexus, you have to get a microscope out to find anything wrong with it.
Look, it's not for everyone. Actually, no, correction. It's not just for anyone. Yeah, that feels better. This is for the ones who'd rather switch off than show off, who'd rather drive in peace than post about it.
What this car offers then, that others don't, is as follows. Very, very beautiful design, and the heritage and how they put things together. What you're buying into is really important. Secondly is that feeling of solidity and longevity, because with this you can keep this, you could see this a bit like your forever home. This could be like your forever car. It's not like a plug-in hybrid where you're worried that it's going to go wrong because it's complicated or the battery is going to get superseded with something else. And there's no software bugs, and you get recalls. I don't think that's going to happen with these. This is all very good for living a productive and calm life. Wouldn't be surprised if they actually prescribed these on the NHS. You having trouble sleeping? Well, that's a shame. Have you tried the Lexus?